This video is sponsored by Squarespace, so stick around to the end and I'll tell you more about them. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. You might be able to tell with the changing leaves around me and all of the mud that we are well and truly heading into winter. In fact, the horses actually swapped onto their winter routine yesterday because it was bonfire night here in the UK. They have lots of fireworks on bonfire night, so we always like to have them in so we can keep an eye on them. But I've had lots of requests from you guys about going over my winter feeding routine because there are a few things to do with their feeds, their hay and their grass that do make a massive difference to their well-being, keeping them happy and also keeping them healthy, trying to avoid things like ulcers and colic. So I'm going to go over exactly how our grumpy horses are fed during the winter to keep them kind of happy, although Dee's not doing a very good job of showing how happy she is. Honestly guys, happiest ponies in the world, so stick around. First thing we're going to talk about for winter feeding is hay and haylage. Now you might think this is a bit of an obvious one, Meg, of course you have to give them hay and haylage, but I'm talking feeding them hay and haylage when they're in the fields. So we make sure every morning when they get turned out, because they'll be in overnight in the winter, that we go out and we put out piles of hay for them. You can see Dora and Winnie here have already finished their piles. It takes me so long to go round doing them all from the bottom fields all the way up. Then I did you first, didn't I? So you've already finished yours. But it's really important to put hay and haylage out in the mornings, especially if the grass is a bit frosty. You don't want the horses going out and eating frosty grass because it really isn't good for their tummies and can aggravate ulcers or be one of the causes for them. So we always make sure that they have got piles of food, get something in their belly before they go off and eat any grass. Hopefully it's given the grass a chance to defrost by the time they've finished their hay. At the minute they're just getting token gestures in the field because there's not loads and loads of grass. But when it comes to the depths of winter, you'll be getting big piles. Another thing to always do with the hay and haylage is to make sure that you do multiple piles. So I am a little bit OCD with it. I tend to try and do double the amount of horses and then add an extra pile. So Winnie and Dora, for example, will have about 5 piles. Although all of our ponies tend to get on, I like to just make sure there's plenty of piles so that there's no kind of fighting between them. Everyone is going to get an equal share of forage and hopefully keep you happy and healthy in the real depths of winter. We might even put hay out twice during the day, mightn't we? Anyway, girls, let's keep wandering down. You can always tell when I've spoken to Winnie and Dora because I literally get absolutely covered. Anyway, the next thing to mention, which is kind of to do with their forage, is grass when it comes to winter. So I believe it's 4 degrees. If it's over 4 degrees, your grass will still be growing. When it drops below 4 degrees, that's it, your grass stops growing. So once we get into kind of December, January, February time, it's rarely going to be above 4 degrees. So there's going to be very little grass growth. Now you'll see up at the top there where Dee and Jammy are, we've actually been thinking about winter since probably June, July time, and we've sectioned off the paddock and we're strip grazing it at the minute. So we've got lots of grass that has grown all summer, and then every day we'll move the fencing out a little bit so it just keeps them having something fresh, some nice fresh grass going through their gut, which is obviously really good for horses. They are designed to eat grass after all. And we'll alternate who goes up that top field. So we'll have a little routine. Dee and Jam will probably have the most days a week. They'll have 2 or 3 days up there, and then the others will take it in turns, just to make sure they're all getting a bit of a chance to actually get some nice green grass. Next, very obvious point is, of course, making sure they always have access to clean, fresh drinking water. Now, once it does get to proper winter, these are going to start freezing, which is an absolute nightmare. So you do have to make sure you're checking, I'd say at least twice a day. The morning routine is the absolute worst because you have to go and break all of the troughs. I tend to use a colander, which Dad hates because I'll go and grab the pasta colander from inside, and you scoop it out and then you actually get rid of all the ice, because if you just break it and leave the ice in there, it refreezes so quickly, which is a nightmare. I did think maybe the buckskins would come and talk to us, but they are still scoffing their hay and haylage piles. Absolute little piggies. So once hay and water is all done, that's it. The ponies can stay out in the fields. So, woof, they'll be turned out about 8:30. We always make sure that they have their feeds before they go out, again, reiterating the point that you want them to have something in their stomachs before they go out and eat the grass. That way, if they decide not to eat the hay we've put out for them, at least there is something lining those bellies of theirs. So they'll go out 8:30, and then they tend to come in depths of winter. We're probably looking about 4 o'clock because it gets dark, maybe even 3:30. But at the minute, they're staying out till about 4:30, 4:45. Quick note on the forage that we use. We always have a mixture of hay and haylage in. I'm very lucky that I work closely with Silvermore, so they kindly provide me with lots of yummy, yummy haylage, which at the minute can be stored outside. Once we take this cellophane wrapper off, be a different story, we'll probably have to take it in. So I go for their light version. This is the lowest sugar haylage that they do, but Silvermore are all about low sugar, high fibre, natural products, which is exactly what we want our horses to be eating. The reason we mix hay with haylage is because haylage has a higher water content. So again, in the winter, you're getting more water into them. Horses tend to not drink as much in the winter because they don't really like cold water. So haylage is a great way of getting water into them. But because our horses are quite used to hay, especially through the summer, we just mix it to make it more normal for them. Now for the important bit, which is hard feed. So I'm sure most of you will know that I'm very kindly supported by the amazing PureFeed company. I've been feeding Pure, I honestly don't even know now, probably 7 years or something like that. We started when we first got Bear because they are all about low sugar, low cereals, high fibre, natural ingredients. You might be sensing a bit of a theme. We like to keep our horses' diets as natural as possible because at the end of the day, that is what their bodies are geared up to processing, so it makes for much happier horses. So when it comes to winter time, I'm wanting a lot less energy with my horses. Dee and Jam will go on their winter breaks, / like they only hack a little bit. So I don't need my competition energy. So for that reason, they get dropped down to the Pure Easy over here, which is a pretty low energy rating, but enough to kind of keep them going. In the summer, they'll be on the Pure Working and the Pure Performance for when we go to 3 days. So they'll have Pure Performance on cross country and show jumping day. So this really is a lot lower energy, but still a complete feed. So everything's in there that they need. The rest of them are on the Pure Fibre Balance. Now this feed is quite similar energy rating to the Pure Easy, but it's got a higher balancer ratio in there, basically for good doers. So because Pure is a complete feed, you need to feed the recommended amount. So this just has more balancer compared to chaff than this one does. So you have to feed less. I do always have a bag of Pure Balancer in case I've got any absolute fatties, so I can add a bit of balancer. That way I can afford to feed a little bit less of the chaff complete feed. So the next thing that I will add to my Pure feed, Sorry, I literally emptied this bag this morning without thinking. It's actually my last one because I'm due a delivery, but it is the Pure Meadow Mash. As I mentioned earlier, getting water into horses is super important. I mean, all year round, but especially in the winter because they don't like drinking. So this is a mash that you soak. You can add loads and loads of water to it. And then we mix it in with their feeds, and it's a great way of binding it all together, adding lots of water. Again, it's very high in fiber, and it also contains linseed, which is great for their coats. So it's a really nice addition. Absolutely love the Meadow Mash. Highly recommend. Then what we will add is another company I've recently started working with, but I've not recently started feeding. So this is the Golden Paste company, and one of their products they make is the Turmeric, which is a turmeric supplement. So we've been feeding turmeric for honestly as long as I can remember. We used to buy it from Holland and Barrett and we'd get it in the powder form, and you had to add, back in the day, you had to add oil and black pepper to like activate it. There's some kind of science behind this. However, when turmeric came on the scene 5 to 7 years ago, we were absolutely obsessed and have been feeding it ever since. Turmeric is incredible for not only their skin and their coats, but also their joint and their digestion. So all of our horses are on the turmeric, and we'll never look back. For all of my feed, if my sponsors dropped me, I would keep feeding it because we've honestly found the best balance and we've got the happiest horses, and touch wood, very few problems with them in the feed domain. So I don't want to ever change anything. Very, very lucky to be working with these amazing companies. Final thing I do want to talk about is I do feed a lot of the Pure supplements. Most of the ponies are always on the joint and the respiratory one, but they have got a new one which is called Calm and Compose. And I bought Jam onto this just before I went to Squarespace eventing because I was having pretty bad issues, as you may know, with my breaks, and just her feeling kind of anxious the whole time. And she'd feel anxious from the day before. As soon as she realised we were going eventing, so like the lorry moved, say, or I'd wash her tail, she would start just acting differently around the yard and obviously just not feeling particularly happy. So Pure recommended this supplement for me, and I've been absolutely blown away with it. It's made such a difference to Jam's behaviour. She was so much more chilled, even going to Bicton, although Bicton didn't end how we wanted it to. She was just beautifully calm and chilled the whole time that we were there. So I actually ended up putting Dee and Dora on this 2 weeks before fireworks night, again, just to kind of try and calm them down, make them feel a little bit better. So I would highly recommend this if you've got a horse that gets a little bit flighty, a bit spooky in the winter, maybe they're a bit anxious, maybe they don't concentrate that well. Buy a tub and see if you see a difference, because I have with 3 of my horses. Definitely a staple for the feed room now. Another little winter hack is boredom breakers. Now these are the Silvermore Grassroots. I've bought the empty packet out for you to see. This one actually has turmeric added to it, so it's an absolute win-win. Now, we use boredom breakers a lot in the winter because they are spending more time in the stable, and also the fields have less grass in them. Poor AC has drawn the short straw today. He's in the mini turnout paddock. So we can just tie one of these to the fence. It just gives them a little bit of something to do while they're stood waiting. This is going to be really hard for you tied to the fence, isn't it? Hang on, mate. Good boy. They spend more time nibbling on this than they do breaking fences. Hang on, love. Right, it has gotten to that time to get them in. The good thing about winter is that we can have carrots again. A nice little healthy snack. Oops, and it's cold enough for them to be kept in the barn. Although you have to watch sugar content with carrots. Do you want that? Good girl. Come on then. Anyway guys, this is about the time in the winter routine where my life flashes before my eyes because I've got a rather frisky foal. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like and a comment if you did, and maybe hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you enjoy these kind of more routine-y ones. And I'll see you very, very soon. Effie's actually being very well behaved. Live, laugh, love you. Back from the yard now. Before I can get started on my winter feeding / eating routine, it's time to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. Now, Squarespace is going to provide you with the most beautiful and powerful tools so you can build your own website from the comfort of your own home. With Squarespace, you can connect with your audience and generate revenue through gated members-only content. Manage your members, send email communications, and leverage audience insights all on one easy-to-use platform. You can create a community on your Squarespace website with fully integrated commenting systems that supports threaded comments, replies, and likes. Use their powerful blogging tools to categorize, share, and schedule posts too. Why not extend Squarespace's already powerful e-commerce capabilities with Squarespace extensions? These new third-party tools can help you manage inventory, promote products, streamline bookkeeping, reconcile and file sales tax, and ship items across the globe. You can also display posts from your social media profiles on your website, meaning you can automatically push website content from your favourite social media channels so your followers can share it too. So why not head over to squarespace.com, have a play around. You can check out their incredible templates. If you get ready to launch your own website, you can go to squarespace.com/Elphick, and that will get you 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video.